Hello everyone, my name is Ihab Saif and this is the weekly knowledge sharing session. Our guest today is Professor Amon Chizema. Hi, Professor Amon, how are you?
I'm good, thanks Ihab, thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Professor Amon, we hear a lot about the concept of the organizational purpose. It's a new concept for some people, and let's define it first. And is it the same what is reflected in each organization vision and mission statement?
Okay, thanks so much. That's a very good question. And it's true that the issue of corporate purpose has gained momentum. I would like to think I was reading somewhere where they were saying since 2010, there's been more than 400 publications in terms of books and articles talking about corporate purpose. A very significant rise in the use of the word as a buzzword in management, if you like. So I think part of that tells us where we are as a society. So let me go to define what it is. What is corporate purpose? And of course, it's coming in different shapes because sometimes people talk of organizational purpose, they talk of corporate purpose, they also talk of shared purpose. So we would like to really untangle these concepts and see exactly what it is. So to start with, if you like, an easy way of understanding what corporate purpose is when the organization asks itself this simple question: why are we here? All right. So the very issue of saying, why are we here? What is the reason why people wake up in the morning and come to this office, can come to this organization? What is it that we are trying to do? So to answer that question, that's basically a road towards answering what corporate purpose is. So it is not about the idea of making money, as corporate governance shareholder value maximization principle seems to suggest. It is not about profitability, no. It is about the whole sense of what is it that the organization is providing to its stakeholders such that they see value in it. Where in many senses, the customer tends to be at the center of that, because think about it, when you design a product, what do you want them to get from it? What value do you want them to get from it, right? So that is basically the whole point of what corporate purpose. It is, as they say in French, la raison d'être, the reason why you are there. Why are you there in the first instance? And sometimes, if you think about it, it has tended to come from the very original philosophy of the founder. People who found corporations, they found those corporations because they want to meet a certain need in society. They want to solve a problem that they see. They have not thought about profits, but they've thought of solving that problem. Profit, yes, is a motive. When I say it's a motive, I'm simply saying that it is something that comes out of the purpose. So let's give an example. If you want to study an MBA degree, for example, the purpose of the organization that is giving you this education is to provide education to you, right? But the motive of different people who come to the organizations can be different. So you have the student who comes because he thinks if he gets an MBA degree, he's going to get a bigger job and a bigger pay. You have the employee or professor who comes to the organization and says, well, if I get a job there, I'm going to get paid and look after my kids. And then you have the shareholder who says, I'm going to get a profit. So these are different motives, but the purpose is not about that. The purpose for the organization is to provide the education, right? So now that takes us to the common purpose. If you have different stakeholders, we have different motives, right? As I said, I am employed by an organization thinking I have to provide for my family. Someone else has to get a promotion. Someone else has to get a profit. Now, if you bring all these people's motives together and start to make them see things from the same angle, then you are providing what we call the common purpose.
Great. And now how this concept is interrelated with the corporate governance, culture, and the strategy of the organization.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. Now, maybe before I even get to there, let me just give a bit more stuff around that. So So you have the purpose that you have set for your organization, right? And this purpose can come in different dimensions, right? So you have the first dimension, if you like, is the dimension of identity. In other words, you want everybody to identify with what is going on within the organization. So if you think about employees, how do you make them to identify like we are into this together? So corporate purpose is that palpable, right? It's a force which you feel it's in the air, right? You can't touch it, but it is this thing about we are into this together. So that's number one. And then the second thing is you've got the mission, which defines what is it that we do and what we do it for and who do we do it for, right? And then the third element or dimension of that is the stewardship, right? So by stewardship, it means who owns it, who really is actually owning this. That's where now corporate governance comes in. So you have your board of directors that tries to see that this purpose is actually met. They try to make sure that whatever is set within the corporate mission and values and the whole purpose statement, they are actually met by the management. So their oversight is basically trying to supervise this purpose within the organization. Now, get me right here. The direction there is from the purpose is in existence, right? And the corporate governance through the board of directors is trying to make sure that this purpose is actually met. So purpose has been there for a while. It was there from the day the organization was started. So corporate governance is not the one that's driving the purpose, no. The purpose is the one that's determining how the corporate governance should react. How should board of directors react to maintain this? How should they appoint CEOs? How should they deliberate over functions of control to make sure that the purpose is not lost? Now, think about this, because you've spoken about corporate governance. Think about the time when organizations like Enron and WorldCom and other corporate failures that we hear every day. What that really means is that these organizations may, at some point, have lost the whole sight of corporate purpose. They've lost it. But at the same time, the board of directors also did not remind whoever was running these organizations about the corporate purpose. So that's the connection between the corporate purpose and the corporate governance side. Definitely, yes, you have actually said the right word. It is the soul and the heart of the organization. Now, it is the soul and heart. Why? Because if it is well articulated, by the way, that's another thing that needs to be done. A good corporate purpose statement should be able to do two things. Number one, it should be able to articulate the strategic goals of the organization. And secondly, it should have the force or power and convincing power that it galvanizes all employees to move in the same direction, right? So once you have something like that, and by the way, why are these guys doing this? Because they have a societal need to fulfill. They have other stakeholders to look after, such as customers. Therefore, it stands at the heart of everything. So if you have a good corporate purpose, then you are almost halfway through solving the problems that you have in your organization. Why do I say halfway through? Because having the corporate purpose on paper is not enough. It has to be implemented, isn't it? It has to be put into practice.